All right, what's happening, folks? So I got a minute. Take my little quick 30-minute break. Sorry, it's dark in here. I ain't got too much light to work with in my truck. Uh, so I figured I would do a quick little thing about me. That way, it doesn't seem like my videos. Because if you're gonna binge watch my videos or go down and look at my videos and be like, what is he talking about? Why would he think that? Why is this? You kind of don't know me, right? Obviously, I can't tell you everything about me, but I can tell you some things. I know there's a lot of shows on right now because even me, I'm watching Breaking Brown right now. So, but I had to take a moment away from Breaking Brown because I got a comment that said, "Bro, you tripping?" And please don't think I don't take offense to stuff like that. I don't take offense to people saying stuff to me online. I just ask why. You know what I'm saying? What is it that I'm tripping about? Maybe there's something you don't understand, or maybe you can't fathom where I'm coming from, or why my point of view and my opinion is the way it is. Um, I have a thing for perspective wisdom, right? And you can only get perspective wisdom through experience. So with that, I don't speak on things that I haven't been through, gone through, that I haven't been through, going through, or have close relation and proximity with people who are going through that thing. And I'm talking and I'm trying to help them through it and stuff like that. So every topic that I speak on, I am directly connected or involved in, right? So one of the things is that as a child growing up, I grew up in the ghetto. So I grew up in Norfolk, Virginia, right? Chesapeake Boulevard, if you want to Google it or Google World Map it and all of that stuff. My neighborhood was a bad neighborhood. Got torn down. Doesn't even exist anymore. It's called Ocean Air. They changed it to Mariners Watch. But if you want to talk about the area, I lived in Ocean View area, right? So I grew up in poverty. I grew up missing meals. I grew up, not having a lot of clothes, one pair of shoes, things like that. Going, missing days of school because things, right? Things. I've been through abuse. I've dealt with a whole bunch of things, right? So growing up kind of messed with my mindset. Now, I played basketball. And then in playing basketball and trying to pursue a professional basketball career, I ran into what is now my wife, and I decided to kind of take a turn and not be a professional basketball player, but be a family man, right? So me and her dated, we courted and all of that stuff. We got together, eventually got married, we had kids, and I joined the Marine Corps, right? To take care of my family and to, at that time, serve my country. So joined the Marine Corps, spent 8 years in the Marine Corps, 10 years around the Marine Corps base, and after I got out of there, got back to regular life, in which, now I'm a truck driver and a business owner, right? My business is in the working building stages and stuff like that. Like I'm licensing and I'm doing all of that stuff. Yes, some of it's truck driving, some of it's other businesses. So I have a lot of things going on, right? That's neither here nor there. But I've been through a lot of things in the course of being in the military, in the course of playing basketball, in the course of I also play football, in the course of playing football, in the course of just dealing with, the ghetto and poverty and my family and broken family and stuff like that. So my views and opinions and stuff, and this is where my last video was talking about black women and food stamps and stuff like that. Well, I grew up on food stamps. I grew up on public assistance. I grew up in the projects, right? Because my grandmother lived in Ocean View and my mom lived in the projects, which was not too far, maybe 20, 30 minutes up the road. So I grew up on both sides of those things. And the way people speak on it, on the internet, about people who live in the projects and people who are on food stamps, it lets me know that you've never dealt with this thing, because you wouldn't have these generalizations about these types of people. But you pick out the very worst people that you can find, right? Maybe on the internet, or maybe some people that you dealt with. You never take into account that those people that you're dealing with, they're only in your circle and you're in your circle because you attract them and you allow them to be in your circle. So that ghetto person that you're talking about with the messed up weed that smells bad and all she does is this, and she got 6 or 7 different kids, either that's on the internet, either that's in movies that you watch, or you allow yourself to be around it so that you can talk about them, so that you can be better, because that's human nature. Human nature people always want to be better than somebody else, right? You always want to step on somebody else just to show how much better you are than them. Look at the competition. Look at the competition in everything, not just sports. Look at the competition on YouTube. This person's channel better than this person. I got more information than you. Hey, you're wrong and you're this and you're that. It's just human nature, right? For you to think that you know more than whoever it is that you're talking about, or that you're better than them in that shape, form, and fashion. Well, government shutdown. Like, I was a part of the government for a while, right? With being in the military. I also volunteered my time when I was done with the military. I worked for free. I worked for free for like a whole year and some change while I was going to school to get my degree. And yes, I have a degree in business. So if you want to talk business and stuff like that, we can talk about those things too. Very knowledgeable in that aspect. But understand what I'm saying to you. So understand what I'm saying to you. My points of view and my wisdom are all from personal experience. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, then you just don't understand. And you can ask questions. I have no problem with answering your questions. Whether you want to answer the question, whether you want to ask the questions on YouTube, or you want to send me an email, that's fine. Or I have a Facebook page and have an Instagram, but I don't really go on those right now. I took a break from that stuff just because I'm working on other things in my life, right? I'll get back to it sooner or later, but it's better for you to either email me or hit me up here. And I have no problem responding. But the way that, and it's mainly black people. It's mainly black people. The way that black people are talking about other people, because it's not just black people that are on government assistance, right? The way that they're talking about other people, you know that they have never dealt with the situation, which is why I say stay in your place, which is why I say stay in your lane. You don't have a comment about it. Okay, or you can have a comment. Let's not relegate you to not speaking on something because you haven't been through it. Because there are some people that can be knowledgeable about things and they never dealt with it. So let's take a step back. Let's retract that. I'm not a person that's above correcting myself. What I can say is, for you to speak negatively on these people and on this topic without knowing enough is terrible. You know what I'm saying? It's really bad of you, because you cause problems, right? And here's something that you got to understand. There's a lot of things that people don't go into. People who know, right? People who know, they don't go into on the internet, because the internet is always under surveillance, right? And if I'm telling you all of these things of how this should be this and this should be that, do you know that some of that stuff fuels politicians to go in to their closed chambers and have these discussions based off of what's going on the internet? Conversations that affluent black people are having, saying that there's nothing wrong with the economy, there's nothing wrong with jobs, you can find a job. Do you really think that it's easy to find a job and start a business, or find a job or start a business? Do you think you can just fill your name out on the application, sign on the dotted line, and boom, you got a job, and this job is paying you enough to sustain yourself? Not family, just you. Let's just talk about the single people, right? Do you really think that people have $3, $5, $7, or $1,000, $3, $5, $7, $100 or $1,000 to start a business? Not just start the business, like get your business license and all your credentials and stuff like that, but sustain the business, keep it going, like put money into it continuously. Do you think they have that? You think the economy is that well that people are just swimming in these little extra pieces of money, and all they need to do is tone down on buying Jordans? They need to tone down on the things that they eat. Just eat some ramen noodles for a whole year and do what you got to do, but open up a business and do it for yourself. That is disingenuous to skip over the whole process in which it takes to get a job or start a business. Either or. There's a lot of people that are not in that position. There's even more people that come out of incarceration, come out of homeless shelters, and they're trying to get jobs and stuff like that. These are all things that you skip over when you say, oh, forget it, let's just shut everything down. I'm glad that people are getting off of their tails and the food stamps is coming out from under. It's time for the welfare queens to meet their day. Listen to yourself. Who put a battery in your back that you're way better than everybody else that's on government assistance? I'm not on government. I work. But there was a time where I had to be on the government assistance. Did you know that people in the military, E4 and down, right? E4 and down, corporal and down. I don't know what it is for Army, Navy, and Air Force because I was a Marine. So E4 and down. Do you know that they live below the poverty line and that they qualify for food stamps and WIC? And in your mind, oh, they don't need it. They have government housing. Well, yeah, they do have government housing. Yeah, they do get a paycheck. But do you know if you get in a debacle or a debate and it ends up in an altercation physically, that the Marine Corps can forfeit half of your pay. They can take half of your paycheck, put you on restriction. So now that half of your paycheck, you got government housing, but the half of your paycheck you're giving back to the government, the other half you still have to sustain your life. And if you have kids, oh man, kids need stuff, clothes, shoes, all of that type of stuff. But these aren't thoughts in your head because they're things that you never experienced, gone through, or had somebody gone through. And if they are, you don't care because you're not in the position to be affected right now. And until you're affected, then it becomes a problem for you. And that's an issue in our community. Those are the things that I speak on. That's why I feel the way that I feel. That's why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. I'm not going to get up here and tell you every 5 minutes about what I've done to help somebody, what I'm doing in my community, and what things I'm trying to put into play for you to discredit it anyways. There's always somebody that is going to discredit it. I can be a senator right now and put together 6 or 7 different policies, and there's not an outlet that will talk about me in a positive way because I'm not doing anything that is drama filled and that will attract views. So right now, what I'm working on is changing that. I'm going to be the change that I want to see. I want to see good, wholesome YouTube channels. So I want to see educational YouTube channels from a real life perspective, not just a whole bunch of data and clicking numbers and 2014 studies and we're in 2019 and it takes years to do these studies. Well, guess where the studies are coming from? They're coming from the government. You think that you're like secure and stuff like that, but I can tell you as a person who worked in intelligence for a little while, I can assure you that your information that you think is private is not. You can easily be found and all of your information be disclosed onto public forums like that with the click of a button. So honestly, a lot of the things that people are talking about to protect themselves, you really can't protect yourselves from the monster that is what we live in today's society. But we can change some things, but we got to band together to change those things. We got to become educated, knowledgeable, and wise to change those things. So those are the things that I'm going to speak on. Those are the topics. Those are where my opinions come from and stuff like that. I was raised in the ghetto. I grew up on food stamps. I've been poverty stricken. I had to change my mindset, and I just so happened to meet a wonderful woman who steered me in the direction of doing some things for myself and not depending on or not self-loathing and being like, oh well, I'm in the ghetto anyway, so nothing's ever going to get better than me. There are people that have that mindset, right? And I had that mindset. And all of this separation about, black men don't like black women and all of that stuff. My wife is black and she encouraged me to do a whole bunch of things, right? She didn't want me to go in the military, but helping change my mind out of the poverty-stricken mindset that I was in showed me an opportunity in joining the military, which helped get me out of the ghetto and set me on a platform, not only to get my degree, but to be able to put myself in a position to get a job and sustain that job, keep that job without getting fired and no junk like that, and then work on building my business later on. I know that it's like a 5-10 year plan, but it's fine. I'm cool because I'm working towards some things for me. But when you're staring all of these younger generational people that they're easily influenced because they don't have the adversities to toughen them up the way that we did growing up. They have a lot of outlets that we didn't have. Pressure busts pipes, but pressure also makes diamonds. So if they don't have any pressure constantly put upon them, how can you expect them to shine like a diamond? Or if it's the wrong type of pressure, it's going to bust their pipes and they're going to fizzle out sooner or later. You can't keep calling people great and they're not great. They're just doing something. right? So there's a lot of things that I can run off to you and give you bullet points as to why things are the way they are. But we're gonna do that in time. That's what my channel is about. So if you want to be on my channel, that's what's up. Come subscribe. You're gonna get some good wisdom, some personal knowledge, and some answers to some things. If you got questions, I have no problem answering. I'm very knowledgeable in that sense, and I'm working on being wise. And I surround myself with a lot of people, and I don't call names. You'll never know who I'm going to be. You'll never know who I'm friends with in high places, in low places, and places in politics, and places in sports and media and entertainment. Because number one, I don't need their clout. I don't need their little platform to make me bigger or no junk like that. Number two, you don't need to know that I'm affiliated with them. If I can't have your respect from just me being me, then I don't need your respect or your admiration or your attention at all. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna keep I'm real, I'm real, I'm real. I don't have to keep saying that. You're gonna realize that I'm real by the stuff that I'm saying, because the only way you can know these things is if you've been involved in it or, closely around it. So if you're having no trouble understanding my videos and why I say the things that I say and stuff like that, what my opinions are on certain things, this is why. That's why. Because most of the stuff that I speak on, or all of the stuff that I speak on, I ain't gonna say most, but when I say most, I mean most of it I've been through. The rest of it, I'm surrounded by people who are going through it, and we have constant communication and conversations and try to put solutions together so that we can strengthen our community, so we can strengthen our neighborhoods. Even in my neighborhood where I live now, I live in Georgia and I live in Marietta. And I'm gonna say this and then I'm gone. I live in Georgia. I live in Marietta. Even in my neighborhood, I have a whole little neighborhood. I've went and knocked on 5 of my neighbors' doors since I moved here, which is not too long ago, and they're all black, and they just look at me strange because they're like, well, what are you knocking on my door? Well, I'm your neighbor and I have kids, right? So you need to know who I am, who my kids are, where we live at, and stuff like that. I get it, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna have our privacy and stuff like that, but if something happens to one of my kids or something's going on that you don't like, I want you to feel comfortable with stepping outside and interjecting and then coming to get me and stuff like that. I'm not unapproachable. So and we live in the same neighborhood. We live next to each other. Why would you not want to know the people that you live next to? That's becoming a serious problem with us nowadays. And I never grew up like that. Maybe it's because I grew up in the ghetto and the projects that we knew everybody that lived in our court and everybody that lived in the court next to them. And we played at the rec center and we played down the street. And we all got together and we did certain things. So maybe that's a thing of the past, but I don't want it to be a thing of the past. So anyways, I'm not going to keep rambling. It's already been